Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Dan. If you're new, I'm going to start another video series, mini series on the next set of axles going in the Explorer. I think I kind of did like a video vlog probably about a year and a half ago plus of what my plans are for a second set of axles and why. Well, I've been collecting parts ever since then, and I got them just stacked up. So luckily I already have the parts. So now I'm going to start building the axles. So let me cover what's changing, why, and what I'm doing first. But again, if you're new to the channel, you may have to go back, or you should go back and watch my Explorer build series from when I started it. I mean, it started out as a bone stock, super clean 94 Explorer from Florida. No rust, no damage, just perfect. Everything was in running order, and I sold basically everything from it, and just left me with the body and the frame to start building from. These axles are the first 1-tons I've ever built. It's the first 4-link, 3-link system I've ever designed, built myself. And the truck's been amazing. I love it. The only issue is, you know, I got 14 inches of droop in the front, and which is awesome. But if I knew then what I know now, you know, I have an Atlas T-case. I would have just got a 4-speed Atlas from the get-go, because then that would have put the front output of the T-case back like 4 inches or so, making the front drive shaft 4 inches longer. So, you know, my angle at full droop, I'm binding at that double cardan joint. So luckily I have 100% of my flex back and forth. I just don't have 100% full equal droop. So I do have to have a limit strap on top of the pig to the frame to limit full flat droop. But I'm not losing any of my actual articulation. I've given myself as much pinion angle as I can to try to help that scenario, but I'm also not trying to give up all of my steering caster. So I have what I think is a pretty happy medium split between the two, but obviously there's always better. All right, so going back to knowing, if I knew then what I knew now, I would have had a 4-speed Atlas. That would have given me that longer drive shaft. Well, I didn't do that. So Northwest Fab, I'm sure you guys have heard about them. They're an awesome company. They make some cool stuff. Well, they have a doubler to bolt onto an Atlas. My Atlas is a 3.8 to 1, which is amazing. And then my current axles are 5/38s. So my low range is insane. Sometimes first gear is almost too low. So the idea with the doubler is going to solve the drive shaft issue with how much droop I have in the front. I don't want to have to limit my suspension at all. So the doubler is going to help me with that. And then when I do redo the front suspension, I want to plan an additional 1-inch stretch. So I should have, all said and done, a 5-inch stretch in the front drive shaft. And that should be more than plenty. But adding the doubler on top of the 3.8 to 1, on top of the 5/38 axle gears, I'm going to be even lower than what I already am, obviously. So that's where these new axles come in. And I guess let me do a brief overview of what those are going to be. Should also mention that the current axles, not only are they 5/38s, I'm running Yukon zip lockers, front and rear air lockers. I did have a real bad situation in the front. I had the initial zip locker basically grenade itself, taking out the ring and pinion. It was a huge ordeal. Luckily, The guy at Yukon took care of me 100%. I couldn't believe it. And I did a video on that when that all happened. So when that happened, I also decided at the same time to go ahead and learn how to gear my own axles, since I've learned pretty much everything else that there is to do when you build a truck. And that's going to save a ton of money because that's not cheap to have done. So I bought the tools required and then gave it my go. It took me about 4 days for to do it, but I wanted to make sure it was just as perfect as I could do. And it turned out great. And here I am, a year and a half, 2 years later, and knock on wood, it's been great. But more research, air locker compressor, it's loud. I used to have a power tank. I like the idea of a power tank, but I don't have an easy place close by that can refill them. And the whole certification stuff, it's just, there's a lot of BS involved with a power tank. And then having, 2,000 PSI of compressed air on or in your vehicle, I don't really like that either. And then if you do ever have a leak, you're going to lose all the air, and chances are you're not going to hear it. So there's pros and cons. I got buddies that run both. Compressor I do like because I can hear it when it is running, and I can hear it when it shuts off. And I know if my lockers are on or off, so I kind of have I know what's happening at all times. So running the air lockers now for, again, since the truck's been built, easily 3 years plus now, 3.5. I can't keep track. Mostly I've had positive with the air lockers and the compressor. There's been a few times where the pumps ran and they weren't sealing. So obviously when you're in an obstacle or a situation, you can't lock your axles. It can be pretty frustrating. So just researching and seeing what other people are running. I'm going to go ahead and put grizzly lockers in both front and rear axles. Not only there's no air, there's no electronics, they're mechanical lockers, but they're also, I guess, 2 times, 3 times stronger than how an air locker is built. You eliminate all those moving parts, all those seals. Just, there's so much that can go wrong. And when you're wheeling and you're doing some hardcore stuff and you are relying on all 4 tires to be biting in a situation that you need grip, and then they don't lock and you start slipping or whatever else, it's scary. So I'm going to keep these axles simple, the new ones I'm talking about. And then again, the doubler's coming in. So I'm going to go from 538 gears to 488s. This is going to give me such a nice range of gears and even better street driving. And not that I do any highway driving, but I have a couple times. Just having 488s in 2 high or 4 high will make that nice. And then having my low 3.8 to 1 Atlas with 488s will be probably more than plenty most times. But then when I need to really crawl, enable the doubler and I'm just idling through stuff, or leave the Atlas in 4 high, 1 to 1, and then just engage the doubler and then just have a 272 to 1. So, I mean, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to basically have 3 low gears, or three speed ratios to change from, all the 1 to 1s, and then the 1 to 1 with the 272 to 1, and then the 272 to 1 plus the 3.8 to 1. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be super cool. All right, so enough about the inside stuff. Outside stuff. You can see I got the Sterling and the 60. I got the 60 about 95% of the way trimmed down. Right now I'm actually in contact with Josh at American Iron Off-Road, talking about some measurements for the HDCs I got from him. And then I'm going to start getting these Cs knocked off. Went ahead and disassembled all the backing plates and stuff on the Sterling. What's the name of the company? Detail Fabrication. I'll have to grab the box. But you eliminate all the stock backing plates, parking brake stuff. So these are stock location backing plates and rear calipers on a Sterling. Again, knock on wood, I've never hit them. Well, look how much they stick out inside the rim and tire. You can easily back into something in a rock or a situation. You know, the brake hose is right here, the fitting, the banjo. Not the ideal location. All right, here we are. Detail Fab. Instagram, I believe Facebook too. But they have a real simple basic kit to relocate those factory stock rear brake calipers from behind. See, this is the passenger one. There we go. That makes more sense. So this is the front of the axle. See the pinion? So now the brake calipers are going to be higher, more on top and in front, which in my case, I will have 4-link lower link bars basically below. So virtually nothing's going to be able to hit them from the front anyway. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right, I kind of laid everything out so we could see. So yeah, my Sterling rear caliper relocation brackets, and then the Sterling ballistic fab shape kit, which I guess I haven't mentioned yet. So yeah, both axles will be shaved using ballistic fabrication shape kits. And then the heavy duty inner C's from American Iron Off-Road. And then I'm not going to get them down right now, but Barnes 4-wheel drive trusses. And if I do go full hydro, the TMR full hydro mount. And then I will, keep my reed knuckles. Those will transfer over to the new axles. I already have the American Iron Off-Road ball joint delete kits. Those will transfer over. I've had good luck, no issues so far. Again, knock on wood, with the basically stock replacement 1550 U-joint axle shafts in the front. So yeah, axle shafts, knuckles will transfer over in the front. So anyway, I just want to kind of do a little one of many coming up mini series in the barn here in the shop on the Explorer. Like I said, luckily I already have 90% of the parts already here, so the rest is just kind of a lot of labor and getting stuff shaved down, cut down, etc. And then I just got to basically just buy bearing kits and then start setting up the axles. I didn't pull these out either, but I do have the ballistic fab sells the already shaved down ring and pinion gear sets, and they use Yukon parts. So I got the Yukon 48 gears that are already shaved down to fit the shaved kit. So like I said, I got everything pretty much ready to start rocking. And then, if I do mess up something, I have another pair of axles. Here's the other D60, and I got another Sterling out back. And then, well, I guess all the boxes are here, but yeah, there's my gear sets already shaved down. Doubler in that box. And then I also have a JD squared bender and hydraulic ram that I need to put together too. All right, in closing, I'm going to have version 2.0 one-ton axles. Like I said, the current ones have been amazing, no issues, except for the one Dana 60 front zip locker that grenaded on me. But other than that, they've been great. But 2.0, it's got to be better, right? So stronger, better parts. The shave kit's giving me an extra 1.5 inches of ground clearance. I'm still on 40s. I would like at some point to go to a 42-inch tire, but until then, the tons are amazing. But when a 40-inch tire is aired down at 6-8 psi, the diffs get that much lower, and they are huge. So that would say my biggest counter issue with the one-ton axles in stock form is how big the differentials are, and they do get hung up. But we're going to solve all that. All right, so yeah, this is, like I said, this is like a little intro to what will become a mini series on building these axles and moving forward. So it's September 15th. Kids are back in school. It's been a busy, fun summer, but I've had zero time to do anything in here. All right, we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.